Welcome to Growing Startups, where we talk to growth leaders and marketing professionals about how to drive sustainable growth from the ground up. I'm your host, Evelyn, and I lead marketing for tech startups. I'm excited to share these candid conversations about marketing, culture, collaboration, and everything else that makes startups grow. Today is a little bit of a different episode. I'm really excited for it, and I don't really know what to expect, which is different. But to kick off season 3 of Growing Startups, I'm actually bringing on Erin Miska, who is going to interview me for a change. I'll give you a little bit of background, and I'd love to hear from you as well, Erin. Just like a quick overview of your background and maybe also why you wanted to interview me. But Erin is a positioning and messaging expert for early and growth stage companies. So we kind of work in the same verticals. But yeah, I'd love to just hear from you a little bit of background on who you are, what you've done recently, and why you're interviewing me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. Well, why I'm interviewing you is because you do such a good job of interviewing other people and you focus on experts in tech startups, and you're an expert in tech startups. And so I wanted to elevate you and celebrate you a little bit, which doesn't happen very often on this show. So also, we're two kind of like young moms in tech, which I think is a cool connection. And so yeah, lots in common. But thanks for the intro. I'm Erin. I kind of like you said, I've been in B2B SaaS startups for my whole career, like since I was a baby. I was 19 when I started doing this. I know, right?
What? That's crazy.
I
You're not
fell
kidding.
into this industry right out of college, and the very first startup I worked at, Jamf, was kind of a like turned into a darling. They were bootstrapped, and so that was an interesting experience. I feel like you don't see a lot of bootstrapped startups these days, and it was bootstrapped, and they eventually IPO'd, and that was that. So that I haven't left. But what makes me kind of a weird marketer is that most of my career I was actually a product manager. So that's why I really like positioning. I also have a writing background before I was a product manager, so that's why I really like messaging. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
This podcast is brought to you by Evelyn Marketing. If you're an early stage B2B tech founder who wants marketing to actually work, you're in the right place. As a fractional head of marketing and growth advisor, I help early stage B2B startups take marketing from 0 to 1 by building the foundations, testing different channels, and scaling what works. I'm currently offering a free strategy call where I do an audit of what you've tried with marketing so far and share practical advice that I believe will make the biggest impact on your growth engine. Visit evelynCools.com to book your free strategy call today. Now back to the episode. That's super cool. I did not know you've been in this industry for so long. What made you think like, okay, I graduated high school and now I'm gonna go into like the crazy startup world?
Let's see. Okay, so I was in college and I got an opportunity to do an internship at a local startup. And I actually weirdly had used their software in my little like IT jobs at my university and my high school because the software they use manages Mac devices. And so that was like a leg up in the interview process that I was like, I've actually used your software as an IT tech. And I was going to school for technical writing and they had technical writing interns. And so I did that while I was in college and didn't leave that company for like 8 years.
Wow, that's crazy. So I feel like that's also different in the startup world. Like you see a lot of people jumping around, which like that's also been my experience. So that's really cool. That's a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. When you fall into a rocket ship, you stay on the rocket ship and you learn so much through like the phases of growth that we went through. It was a lot of change.
Yeah, so cool. I'm excited because I feel like every time we talk, we just end up going forever and we have so much to say. So I'm really curious. I haven't really like I've glanced over some of the questions that you sent over, but I'm kind of going into this not really prepared.
I love it. Keep you on your toes. Relinquish the control, Evelyn.
I know it's hard.
Oh, okay. Well, I have an icebreaker to start. The first time I heard of you and we scheduled a call to get to know each other, I was like, her name is Evelyn Cools. Like, who has a name like that? And is it real? And is it her maiden name or is it her married name? Like, how did she get such a cool name?
So I actually started my career as a singer-songwriter, and people always used to think this was my stage name. But then like that's kind of weird. Like if I were to give myself that name, like who do I think I am? Yes, it is my real name. I'm originally from Belgium and it is much more common there.
Okay.
But my dad's name is Luke Cools, like Cool Hand Luke from the old westerns. So we actually traveled around a lot when I was a kid for his job, and he worked out here in LA when I was really young. All of his colleagues would call him Cool Hand Luke, and it's been such a blessing to have this last name. But yeah, it is my maiden name, and eventually I will change my name to my husband's name. I haven't done that yet because I'm in like the visa process and I don't want to compromise anything by like changing names.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I will always use this name as like my stage name, not just as a musician, but also as a marketer.
Yeah, I mean, you're building a business. You are the brand. Fun fact, I kept my maiden name. So it's on the table.
Yeah, I mean, in Belgium, it's a lot more common for people to keep their maiden names, but there's something really cute about like all having the same last name, like with your kids. So yeah, I
Yes,
feel like
pros
that's
and
what I'm
cons.
gonna do.
Okay, I love it. Okay, and then more personal stuff about you. I know that you were a musician, you were an audio engineer, which is like why you can just bust out podcasts, part of why. And then you were a CSM, and I just want to hear about that journey and how it all flows together.
What a question. It's funny because I was like really uncertain about how this career journey would look when I was interviewing a couple years ago for like my first real marketing role. And I found that like it's all about how you tell the story. And I do feel like every part of my career, I've learned things that now help me and actually make me a better marketer. I feel like marketing is one of those things where sometimes the people with the non-traditional backgrounds actually are better at it because they're not like thinking. It's kind of like being a musician and going to Berkeley and being so like structured in like the theory. I've talked to a lot of musicians like this, and they're like, sometimes I wish I could just do something random that's not based on like all this theory that I've had. And I think marketing can be pretty similar as well. So yeah, I started my career, actually started studying marketing at Ithaca College.
Oh,
And I realized after a year that it just like wasn't for me. In one of my lectures, I found out that like some companies will put a really high pitched sound at the beginning of commercials for kids things to like get their attention.
gross.
I know, because kids have a lot like more hearing, like they have higher frequencies that they can hear than adults. So they would put in like frequencies that adults probably won't notice, but kids, if they're like playing in front of the TV, will look up and see whatever it is. So I learned that and I was like, I can't be in this industry. This is terrible. I had this like dream of being at a big ad agency in New York, and all my dreams shattered. And so I decided to pivot to something that was pretty broad. It was called Cultural and Creative Industries. And I studied in London. So that was also a pretty big change. And that was great because I got to learn a bunch of different things from marketing to like sociology to like music and video production. So it was really good for someone like me who I just like love learning about everything. So that was great. And I took an audio course. During that time, I was also starting to play at bars and had a lot of shows where it really like makes you tough when either like no one's listening or no one's there. So that was really like character building. And I took a sound engineering course during my time at university there and really liked it. And I thought could kind of be the best of like both worlds of like the creative side, but also I really like technical things. So I ended up studying at the Institute of Audio Research in New York for a year. And from there, got my visa to be here, an artist visa, which is fun because they call you an alien of extraordinary ability. So that was cool. I moved to LA because that's really where I wanted to be, kind of like broke free of my endless years of studying. I was always like really academic growing up, and so that was just like really needed at that time in my life. I became head of audio for So Far Sounds, which was my first experience with like a growth stage company and learned a ton. Then met my now husband. He is a watchmaker, so he actually got into a watchmaking school in New York for Patek Philippe, which is like really hard to get into. So I'd only met him like a year before, but we decided to move to New York together. And then the pandemic hit. I lost all my income overnight because I was in live sound, and slowly like built myself up again, had an identity crisis. And got into startups. I started working at the Belgian American Chamber of Commerce there, which was really cool because it supports European companies that are coming here for the first time. And then I got my first like real startup job as the first full-time hire and customer success manager for a health tech company run by a Belgian founder. Did a lot of their marketing too, because first full-time hires do everything. I set up their whole virtual clinic, which was insane, and just kind of like found my way back to marketing, found my love for marketing again, and have been doing that for like the last 5 years. So it's been wild.
And the good news is in tech startups, we don't have to play weird sounds at the beginning of commercials to hypnotize people. So there's that.
I found that like I really have to believe in a product or believe that
Yeah.
it's like having a positive impact on the world to be able to market it. So I think that's what I like understand now that I didn't when I was 18. I also didn't really understand like what do you do as a marketer? I just thought like, okay, you work at an ad agency and people like clients come on and it doesn't matter like how you feel about the product, you just have to promote it. But that was not accurate.
Yeah. I guess we didn't like exactly say this, but I'm have my own consulting business too. And I feel the same way. There are some, this is mean, but there are some founders that I meet that like on paper make a pretty good prospect for me and probably would pay me money for my help. But sometimes I just, my spidey senses go off and I'm like, this product is not going to work. Like, I don't want to take your money and have me help you and then you flop. Like, I can see the writing on the wall. This product is going to flop. And I don't typically take those gigs because it feels icky.
It really does. And you also have to be excited about it yourself, at least like a little bit, to be able to sell it in the right way.
Yeah. I just learned so much about you. Evelyn Cool's alien of extraordinary abilities. That should be your LinkedIn tagline.
That would be hilarious. I just feel like, well, it's like an honor to me to get that visa. It was like a 700-page application that I sent in. Absolutely insane. But it also feels like, I don't know, bragging. Like I'm not, I don't know. That's a crazy, crazy way to call myself.
Yeah, but women need to brag more, so we're gonna do it.
You're not wrong.
Okay, so you work with a ton of startups and you're often the founding or only marketer. And so I would imagine, based on what I know about startups, that you get pulled in so many directions. It's not even funny. And you wear, I mean, you said you were doing marketing as a CSM. That's a prime example. Like, why? So my question is, out of all the directions you get stretched in and being expected to wear so many hats, how do you prioritize? Like, if you were giving advice to a founding marketer who's getting pulled in all these different directions, what would you tell them?
I feel like much of the marketer's job in startups is like educating the founder and the team on like what marketing is and what we're here to do. So I feel like that's just kind of one thing because you can be pulled in so many different directions that like are gonna make it that your days are just you're not actually working towards the biggest priorities. So
Yeah.
that's actually something that I like to make sure I'm aligned on with founders is like what are the top like two or three things that we want to do with marketing, and if I'm spending like more than 20% of my time not on those things, that's a problem. It can be easy to just like fill your days with like, oh, I have to create a one pager because this person asked me and they need it by the end of the day. Obviously you have to do a lot of those things too, but
Yeah.
when I think about prioritizing my time, it's like what are the KPIs that I'm trying to hit? What are the things that I think are going to actually have the biggest impact on our marketing versus like all the nice to haves? Because you could literally work into the night every single day if you were
Yeah.
trying to do everything.
Yep, it's easy to get pulled into reactionary mode and like kind of order taker mode if you don't sort of take the reins and say like, that's not, I appreciate the request and sure maybe I can accommodate something there, but that's not what we're doing here.
I was really hard for me, like especially earlier on in my career, is like having that confidence to just say, like, this is actually what I believe we should be doing. Not an easy skill to
Yeah.
learn. Maybe for some people, but for me it was, I'm like a people pleaser at heart, so this is like one of the things that I'm constantly working on.
Well, and you're both of us work with founders a lot, and like founders have to be crazy. Like they have to be. You have to, it takes a really special alien crazy person to start a business. And so they have strong opinions. Like it really, you do have to have thick skin when you're the marketer, the founding marketer trying to educate a very strong willed founder on what's going to move the business forward.
Totally. And this is their baby. Like they've put
Yes. Yes.
everything into this. Like their name's on the line.
Yes.
Their probably retirement is on the line, like
Yep.
all these things. So I always come in with empathy first
Yes.
and like trying to understand their perspective, but then also trying to like stand my ground as well because you don't want to get walked all over. And founders want like a thought partner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess like that's what my advice would be too is like know what your opinions are, know why you have those opinions because founders do want to know like how you came up with things. But yeah, you're the subject matter expert here. So they're actually looking to you for advice and you don't have to like do everything that they say because
Yeah.
everyone's going to have an idea about marketing. Like I think this is like one of the only fields where everyone thinks they're a marketer because they've been marketed to, and it's just not true. But it
Yep.
can be very easy to just get like swamped with ideas from other people who actually don't know what it takes to like execute on those things and how to make them successful.
That was a perfect segue. Your actual kind of like quote unquote tagline is 0 to 1 marketing for startups. And you have like a little, I love the little seedling in your marketing. What does 0 to 1 mean to you? Like what do you think before we started recording, you did say every startup needs different things, but in general, what are like some of the early marketing things that startups should be thinking about?
Great question. So I'm a big believer in getting the foundations right. I think it's very easy to just jump into, yeah, that's your bread and butter, which I always love. I think it's really easy to want to jump into like the sexy marketing things and like just start getting lead gen and all these things. But if you, for one, you're just probably going to get the wrong people because you're not communicating about your product in the right way and you haven't actually defined your ICP. So those are really important things for me in the beginning is I have to have a good understanding, usually based on things that you've done already, like customers you've acquired. I really like to do an audit of like how many customers do you have? What are the deal sizes? How quickly did they close? How long have you retained them? And like see if there's any trends in there that can help figure out like who's our target customer. What customers do you actually want more of? Because a lot of startups in the beginning can be a lot of things to a lot of people. So, it's not necessary to like completely block off things outside of your like core ICP, but I think it's really important to have that kind of at least a working ICP so you know who are we going after? What do they care about? Like how do we talk about our product to them specifically? So that whole like positioning, messaging, ICP is all really important to me. Then I also look at something that Emily Kramer from Market One talks about, which is marketing foundations, where there's all these different things, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but really figuring out like the one or two areas where you already are ahead of some of your competition. And when you invest in those things, it's really gonna like give you the best ROI out of all the marketing activities you could be doing. So that's like foundations of the actual like marketing motion, but then also looking at foundations of your infrastructure. And I'm not someone who's going to do like a massive HubSpot build, but having something where you're collecting data so you can actually see what's working is super important. So those are like the foundational pieces, but then from there, like you mentioned, it's really never like one size fits all with early stage companies. So I like to look at those marketing advantages, and there's going to be things you have to do always. Like your website has to communicate properly. Your LinkedIn description should look accurate. Like there's some stuff you just have to do. But then after that, prioritizing like really the things that I believe are going to help you specifically. So like right now I have multiple clients and we are all doing very different things, which is I think exciting, but also it's what makes like 0 to 1 marketing so tricky, I think, especially for people who are more like subject matter experts.
I was going to ask you a question that I don't think I can ask because I know you're going to say it depends. I was going to ask you, is there a first channel that you find yourself recommending like over and over and over again? But I can almost guarantee based on that last thing that it's just not consistent.
Well, I'll tell you the one that I don't recommend, so maybe that helps. So I never start with paid ads. I know a lot of
Yep.
people love paid ads, but especially now, like they're just not performing in the way that they maybe used to because it's so saturated. Also, if you're a SaaS company, LinkedIn is just like really expensive. I've actually had some success with like meta ads for B2B audiences, which I do
Hmm.
think is cool because you're kind of taking like direct to consumer tactics and using them on B2B. I think there's a lot there. The only reason I would use paid ads is to test messaging at the early stages because you don't really have like as broad of like a customer base, or you don't really have like a big newsletter audience usually where you can like test to see what is resonating. So you're not having like a bunches of sales calls where you can like pull out exact things that people are saying. So that's something that I like to do to like test messaging at scale with ads, but I would never use it as like a first channel for acquisition.
Okay, you're teaching me things. I think it's really interesting to use that as like almost A/B testing for messaging in the early days. I've worked with clients who have wanted to use like newsletters or emails or sales calls for A/B testing, and I've had to explain to them, you guys, our sample size is so small that that is not a scientific experiment. Like you can't have three sales calls and say it worked better. This messaging worked better on two of them, so we should go with that. Like that's not a good sample size. So
Yep.
that's okay. So clearly you are a very well-rounded marketer. Like I go really deep on positioning and messaging because it's like my jam, and you know all the things, I feel like. What's your favorite? Like there's got to be parts of it that you kind of don't love and parts of it that you're like this is Evelyn's jam. And I read a lot of weird self-help woo-woo borderline woo-woo books, and I think about the Gay Hendricks The Big Leap book. I don't know if you've read that.
It's on my bookshelf, but
Okay,
that doesn't
read
mean
it or
anything.
skim it at least. So he talks about the zone of genius, and I think about that for myself all the time. Like, what are the things that Evelyn does and it feels easy to you? And so you almost feel like you shouldn't even charge that much for it because it just comes so naturally to you. But everyone else is like, whoa, why is she so good at that?
So good. I've been thinking about this a lot, actually. I think, especially once you kind of go off on your own, you have to think about this. So I'm really curious, like what yours is too. So tell me that
Okay,
after this. But
okay, okay.
I'm kind of I think where I love to be is that thought partner with founders to figure out what's at your core, what are you trying to tell the world, and how do we do that? So often that comes through content, and that's kind of my background, as well as more of that creative, like creating podcasts or putting together webinars or writing newsletters. So I love the whole like creative side of how do you tell a story. And I think nowadays it's extra important for founders to like show who they are a little bit more because people want to know who is behind the company, and that's how they connect with brands these days. So I love that whole like how do we get what's in you, like what's your story
Yeah,
out into the world.
that's so personable. I love it. You're like, you're taking marketing which you and I both have like sometimes gross feelings about, and you're turning it into like I'm helping a genius get their product out to the world. Like I'm helping like pull the genius out of this founder and making it shine.
That and like I think a lot of what executive coaches do is super interesting to me because it almost feels like you're kind of like a therapist, but not really. Like I end
Yeah.
up being that person often, even just with like how do you manage your team and how do you like tell the story internally to like motivate people. Obviously, you have to be like clear enough, but you're also the visionary. So I think it's all about like how do you tell your story? How do we do that internally and externally? And I guess I've never really worded it that way. So I have a
Oh,
lot of
I
thoughts
love it.
now.
Some content that we're going to see soon from you. I love it.
Maybe, maybe. What about you though? I'm very curious. Like, is it writing?
I think it is writing, but there's kind of like two parts to mine. One is I connect dots. I've learned this about myself or like articulated this in my brain about myself just in the last like 2 years. I connect dots across lots of different areas of life and work really fast to the point where something will click in my head and it will feel so obvious to me after that click happens that I like don't do a great job of verbally explaining it to people because I think it just seems so obvious. Like, how can you not see this? Which gets me in trouble sometimes. And I have learned that I need to go once the like a click happens, I have to go away and write it before I can even like verbally explain it to people. Cause the way that I process things is in writing. Like I think I was telling you, I just took an AI course recently and they were like, use whisper flow to like capture voice thoughts and it like transcribes really well. And I'm like, but I'm a writer. Like, the words almost flow faster out of my fingertips at the keyboard than they do talking. So, yeah, it's
Interesting.
dot connecting and writing.
That's very cool. I actually love whisper flow. I love writing too. Like
Yeah.
I think I'm able to put my own like feelings and what I truly think about something. Like I make sense of my thoughts through writing,
Yep. Yep.
but
Same.
I do like as a one person marketing team, I'm usually not talking to anyone all day. I mean, I talk to founders and I talk to like people that I need to talk to about like what's going on with marketing, but really having that like thought partner, I don't have. So I've kind of been using Claude with Whisperflow in that way because I like to talk about stuff and like sometimes things are on my brain and it looks terrible. Like if I would read back what I wrote, absolutely no structure, but like that's what kind of helps because it's more like as if I was talking to a person with
Yeah.
a train of consciousness and then it like makes sense of it. So it's been helpful for that.
So maybe I need to think about it as like, it's not either or. It's like both are two related but separate ways to process things, you know?
Yeah, Claude doesn't
Okay.
need my polished writing. Like I just want to be
Yeah.
able to like word vomit what's on my mind and then it can like make sense of it for me.
Do you write creatively? Because you seem like a very creative person. Do you write like personal creative things just for you, or is it a lot of like work marketing writing that you do?
I write songs, so that's
Oh, I love that.
yeah, I mean that's been a little bit I feel like, when you're being really creative, you have to have like the mental space. So, like starting my own business only like 7 or 8 months ago, I feel like that's taken a lot of that like creative capacity. And then being a mom for the first time too, as I'm sure you can relate to, it can be hard to like have the mental space to be very creative. So I've been like slowly getting back into it. And then also I have a newsletter, which is very infrequent. It's like once a month, if that. But it's called Diary of a Startup Marketer. And I refuse to use any AI for it. Like
Oh, I love
nothing,
that.
nothing is done with AI. And it's like a way for me to both like maintain my writing ability because I've always loved writing, but also like it's very therapeutic because I'm not writing as much now for like client work. I feel like it's like a combination of my writing, but then also using Claude. But so this is like mine, which I need.
You're giving me the best segues. You touched on being like a new-ish mom. I don't think we can call you a new mom anymore, but a new-ish mom, and the fact that you're also a new-ish business owner. Like both of these things happened very recently, which is a lot of growth and change all at once. And I think I'm flabbergasted by how you did those two things like basically at the same time. And I just want to hear what your experience has been like and how you're doing it.
I think it's always, I think it's one of those things too with like social media that everything looks like it's just functioning great for other people. I mean, look, I think I'm doing like a pretty good job. I have to pat
You
myself on the
are.
back a little bit. But I mean, the day to day can be like very chaotic, and I think I'm someone who's like pretty easy to get to burnout. Like I will burn myself out, but then I notice that I'm like about to get there, and then I figure out that I like need to reset. So yeah, just like I've always been a high achiever, and my philosophy is like I can do all the things until my body decides like
Until I can't.
actually no. So I've been getting like pretty sick from daycare illnesses, which I feel like is a pretty common thing anyway, but for me that's just like it just knocks you out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've been doing as good of a job as I can because I want to be a present mom. A huge part of like going solo was to be more present and kind of like build a career around the life that I want versus like building my life around my career, which I was definitely doing before. Not a bad thing, but I feel like that was stuff that I could do before becoming a parent. So it's been great. It's been chaotic and very like rewarding as well because I feel like the purpose behind like building a career is so much the career that I'm having now is like so much deeper than anything that I had before because I feel like I'm doing it for like my family. I feel like I'm doing it for my future self. I have big dreams. So it's been going good, but I just have to be careful of like not doing too much. Always. It's always
Yes.
been a
Yes.
thing in my life.
I relate so much to everything you just said. I think when we first met, that's why we hit it off so fast because we both started this business with young kids with which seems crazy, but with the idea of I want my work to fit around my kids and my mom duties. Because that's totally why I started my business. Now, there are days where I'm like, oh my God, I think I might be working harder than did in corporate at times.
Always.
And so I'm trying to be really conscious of that because I have to remind myself, like, that wasn't the North Star of this. But we're early, we got room to grow. You kind of have to. And it's just like a startup. You have to work your buns off in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I have to keep reminding myself of that as well. Like the reason you did this was to have more balance, and it can be really hard to do that because it is also exciting. Like the work that
Hmm.
I'm doing now doesn't I'm not on the clock for a company in the same way. I'm
Yep.
doing this for myself, which is also a little dangerous. But initially when I started this, like I didn't have childcare. My daughter's now just over a year old. And I mean, I was like, literally, she was like sleeping in the carrier because she
I
had a
know.
real,
I saw
she,
her on Zoom.
yeah, she had a really hard time. Just sleep has been like one of our bigger challenges. And so I would just be like walking around our kitchen at midnight, talking into ChatGPT to like pull together a proposal, like whispering so she wouldn't wake up. So I just think like moms are like another category of like productive and crazy and you just get stuff done. So I think like becoming a mom has actually made me like prioritize even better than I did before and also not like stay in unhealthy situations. I feel like now things that would have maybe stuck with me a whole weekend or comments from people that I work with that like would really rub me the wrong way. Now I just have this thing where it's like this isn't actually that important. Like I am raising a human and all this other stuff like it's fine. I don't have to be so like emotionally attached.
Yep. 100%. This is morbid, but I often when I'm like finding myself in a tizzy about something that is pretty silly, I will think of like, okay, remember when you're on your deathbed, what's going to matter? This like debacle with a client or like with your employer or a coworker or your kids and your family and your friends and like so many non-work things.
It's important because like everything can feel so urgent at startups, which, for good reason, like they move really fast. You only have so much time, especially you have like the advantage of being early as a startup many times in your category. So like you want to move fast, founders move fast, but I think there's also something important about like taking a beat, and sometimes your best work comes from like slowing down for a second,
Yep.
which I don't know, it's just something I try to remind myself of when I'm like going back to back to back on work stuff.
Okay, we're gonna stay personal for a little bit. Is this okay that we're
I like it. I have no idea like what your flow is of these questions, so I'm loving it.
Well, okay, so from my own experience, becoming a mom and starting my business separately are like the two experiences in recent years of my life where I've grown personally the most, and you did them at the same time. How have you, I mean, you touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the ways that you've grown through motherhood and through your business journey?
Oh my God. I have to
Like,
think
do you
about
feel
this
like a
for a
different
second.
person than you were a couple years ago? Like, in some ways, I'm like, I'm the same Erin, but I'm a different Erin.
I feel like that's a really great question. I feel like the same person, but just honestly like leveled up. I love I
Yeah.
love myself as a mom and as a business owner. Like I just feel like I'm so much more of a badass still, and
Yes,
I
yes.
I want that narrative to be there for other people too, because I have definitely had like plenty of conversations. I won't name names, but someone I recently worked for basically told me like becoming a mom and going fractional would be bad for my career. And not that I'm like proving him wrong out of spite, but like I truly believe that you can
He's
build.
wrong.
He's like, I'm sorry, but he's wrong. Like,
Fundamentally, he's
I
wrong, yeah.
personally think that like my career is in a better place than it's ever been. And I also have this like whole new identity as a mom. And like, I can do both things. Like, I take Wednesday mornings off, like, very consciously to be with my daughter. She goes to daycare later that day. And like, those are boundaries that I can now set as a business owner. So I feel like I've gotten better at boundaries, and also I just like believe in myself more than I ever have.
Yay, I love it. One of my goals, honestly, one
What
of my
about
goals, I
you?
think, well, I just have to, we're gonna pause. No, don't turn it to me. I really admire you in your motherhood and business journey, and I think you're a badass. And one of my goals in interviewing you was like to pull that out of you and like get you to say it. So mission
Well, you
accomplished.
did it. You did it.
I'm like so impressed by you. What about me? I think, I mean, I kind of alluded to this, but I get worked up over silly things in the past. And I catch myself doing it still, but it's a lot faster for me now to snap out of it and just be like, I've done so much work on like, what is the North Star? What are my values? Like, guys, I have a life coach. Like, I'm a little bit woo woo now. Like, I'm
Let's
trying
go.
to totally deliberately build this life around what matters to me and be able to articulate what matters to me and be able to recenter myself in what matters to me. So that's the biggest way that I've grown. And then also I think this is weird, but in my 20s, I like before I was a mom, earlier in my career, I was really confident. Like I think most people would describe me as a confident person. And in some ways, motherhood professionally turned me like not very confident. Like I questioned everything a lot more in the early years of parenting. And I think it's because I was stressed and becoming a different person and figuring out who I was and figuring out what matters to me. I mean, there's like a multitude of reasons why that kind of like was a hit to my professional confidence. And I feel like the business has been a really cool way to reclaim it. It's really helped me reclaim a lot of that. Like, we are badasses. I mean, come on.
That's so cool. I mean, I don't want to make it sound as well like postpartum isn't like a whole crazy experience in itself, because I mean, like the first few months of being postpartum, I did not want to think about work. I was like, I am never working again. Like, this is crazy. I could, like, my brain couldn't even like fathom getting on a marketing sync call and like talking about OKRs. Like, hell no. Like, who cares? That's how I was feeling. And I also had this like, I did not feel as confident. And I'm not sure exactly if that's like hormones or just like trying to figure this thing out for the first time. And
Yeah.
not everything's going to work the way that it does in like some parts of your job. You have like a clear input and a clear output for a lot of things you do, and parenting is just like not. that. So it's a whole new world. But I'm I feel like I just turned into like a better a better version of myself, which a lot of people are scared of like losing themselves to becoming a mom. But to me, it's just like, I don't know. I think it made me a better human. I think it's like one of the things that I was supposed to do in my life, and now I'm doing it. And so, like, I'm figuring it out as I go. I have no
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
sometimes,
Well,
but
I think people also think like postpartum, that's like 6 weeks, right? Or maybe 6 months. And it's like, no, now it's 2026 and there's research that shows it's actually altering who you are. And you're going through this process called matrescence. We have a name for it
Mhm.
now. And it takes years. And every time you have another kid, it kind of starts over. It's
It's
not like a
crazy.
one and done thing.
No, but it's tough. Like one of the things that really got me through, because yeah, I became a mom and also started my business, and we also moved across the country to
Yeah.
a place where like I didn't know anyone. So that was like wild as well. And I'm doing this without a village. My husband's parents live in Arizona. My parents live in Belgium. I don't really know anyone here. It's like slowly building community, but I joined this community called Society of Working Moms when I first moved to Georgia. And I honestly don't know like what I would have done without that, because I didn't have my full-time job anymore. I was like full-time childcare. We were in an apartment that was going to be temporary. So I also felt like I wasn't going to like put a lot of roots down there. So that like saved me having some level of like support and community. And a lot of the moms in there are also trying to figure out like how do I build my career in a way that supports me and my family at this phase of our life. So that was like I don't know what would have happened
Did
mentally
you know that
with
I
me.
joined?
No. Wait.
You told me about this the first time we met, and I was like, wow, that's cool. I like things related to working moms. Like, I feel like I should be part of that. That's me to a T. And they just like kept showing up in my feed. And then I learned that they were started by a woman in Minnesota, which is where I am. And then they did the Care Connection and Career Summit, and I just like couldn't resist any longer. So yes, I am a member. I don't want to creep you out that I followed you into that.
I think I've influenced multiple people. I wish I would have known, because you would have been able to use my referral code for
Oh, dang
your
it.
first
It's
month.
okay. It was a good deal with that summit.
Yeah, no, but I love it. I think just having some type of community. When I was in LA, I had like a really good community from like friends who aren't necessarily moms, but then also I did this prenatal yoga class that turns into a baby and me class. So like you
Cool.
see each other, and most of the women there were first time moms. So like you're all going through this thing together, and then like 6 weeks after everyone delivers, like that's when you can start going to the baby version. And so that was like just so cool. So that's something that I obviously didn't have moving here, but I think that's like definitely for any like moms or moms to be, just having some type of
Yeah,
community is
definitely.
so important for everything, like for your work life too.
Yeah.
You as a partner, you just like need to feel like you're not alone.
And I have like different flavors of working mom friends and non-working, not I shouldn't say non-working, stay-at-home mom friends. But I think the different like flavors are important. Like it's specifically important to me lately to have mom friends. Maybe they're kind of networking friends too, who have their own business. Like that's a whole different thing that most of my like natural mom friends can't relate to. And I need
Yep.
that. So that's why I was pumped to meet you.
Yeah, and that's also Society of Working Moms has like its own channel for business owners, and
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that like I have no idea how to do this. Like I went in there asking them like I got a lead, like how do I write a proposal? Do you try to get people on like hours? That's like a whole conversation in fractional, as well as like do you sell hours or outcomes? So all these questions I had, like you just need, and I have other communities too that aren't like mom specific, but that's just like a whole other world as well that you have to like learn.
Yep. Okay, I have one more like real personal question, then we can get back to marketing. You're doing great.
Thank you. This is
Thanks for letting
fun.
me like go here. I like
Oh,
that
I
you're
love it. Like I don't usually have people asking me these questions. I feel like there's a whole like side to every person that doesn't really come out at work. And so I love it. I love these questions. It feels like therapy almost.
Ah, I love it. Okay, I want to know what are some rituals or wellness habits, whatever you want to call them, that keep you sane. Like I think one example that I already heard through the course of this interview is you write songs, which I imagine feels lovely and therapeutic and like you're in the zone. What else? Do you have anything else?
Yeah, my guitar is right next to me, so even if I'm not like in a heavy like writing or recording phase of my life, I literally will just like pick that up during the day and like play it for 2 to 3 minutes and sing, which feels like such a good reset. Nature, like I love being outside. It's been a little bit interesting here in Georgia. It's been like really
Hot.
crazy weather, hot, and also like so many storms. Like part of our tree fell down yesterday. It's been
Oh,
insane, but also like very pretty. We live in a really green area, so even if it's just like me really focusing on the environment while I drive my daughter to daycare, which is only like 5 minutes, but trying to be aware of like the natural world around me. And I started like planting flowers because I've never had a garden before. So that's been very fun. And then I think one of the most important things that I've done for many years is writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for in the morning. Simple, but like really important to start my day in the right like state of mind. And then at the same time, I do something that I don't even know exactly what it was that started this. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. I was having a lot of limiting beliefs around money. And I think there's all these things that you have like certain beliefs around that you like don't think you can grow in your career as much, or you don't feel like you can make a pivot, or like my most recent one was around like becoming a mom and a business owner, and like actually you can do all the things that you want. Like there's all these like voices saying that you can't do things.
like a
So
literal man telling you that you can't. I mean, in your face.
actually, yeah. But a lot of that stuff is like ingrained in your own mind too. And I think like if you have these like subconscious thoughts every day, you're not actually gonna get to where you want to be. So I started doing this thing where I write down limiting beliefs that I have around like a topic that I think is the most that's like holding me back the most in this phase of my life. And then I turn it around and I write the truth, which is like often the opposite of that limiting belief. And that's like changed my life, honestly. Like the one that I did first around like money thoughts, which a lot of that I think comes from how I grew up as well, just like things that you see and things that like other people speak out loud saying like this is the reality of the world. I had like written down, and I'm a, like a little bit woo woo, but also not like crazy. So I don't fully believe in like manifesting every single thing
Yeah.
to a T. But I had written down like the salary that I wanted a year from then, and literally within like a week from that time, I got an offer for exactly that number, which was just like insane. I had no idea how I was gonna get there. Like it felt impossible to me. So, yeah, I don't know. Something after that, I was like, oh, there's something here. Maybe I can't replicate this exact thing because I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe in that, but it was crazy, and I've been
I
doing it
totally
ever
do.
since. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Emma Stratton and her work? She's a messaging guru.
Yes.
Okay, so for all you podcast listeners, if you like the topics that you're circling around, that Evelyn is circling around, it's funny, Emma Stratton is like a messaging guru for tech startups, and she has a podcast about that. But then she also has a podcast that's in a coaching business, I believe, that's like a little more woo woo, and it's about like mindset things and manifestation. Like it's woo woo. I mean, it's a
I
lot of
didn't know
this
this.
stuff. It's really good. It's really good.
What's it called? I'm recording with my
Oh,
phone. I can't write that down.
I know. I don't remember what it's called, but it's so funny. She has
I'll
like two
find it.
podcasts about wildly different things.
I feel like that's kind of my personality too, but I usually don't let the other one like shine as much
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, for example.
She's a cool example of you can be all the things. You can be a tech startup guru and you can also be like a coach who helps women work through these mindset blockers, you know?
I love that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
She's one of my idols. Okay, I want to talk. This is this is a wild pivot. I want to talk about AI because you and I have both been trying to like level up, and I don't mean like AI startups and the state of that landscape, but just us using AI and leveling up and learning about AI. I know you've taken some training, I've taken some training. We kind of, if we're working moms who want to like not work ourselves into the ground, AI is a big deal for us to like be more efficient. Tell me all the things.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have a love-hate relationship with AI. I'm
I
not
know.
one of those people who's like, let AI take over my entire life. And I know like plenty of those people. And I also think a lot of what you're seeing on LinkedIn of people saying like, oh, I've like built these entire systems and I replaced my marketing team and all these like crazy things. I think they're full of shit. Like, I just don't think it's real. Or if it is real, like there's gonna be things that happen that are very detrimental to your business. So I don't think we're like at the phase where like you can fully outsource a lot of things to AI. And actually right now the clients that I'm working with, like two of them are AI native companies. Like this is what they do. So I really see from like the back end of these companies too, like what's actually possible, and a lot is possible, but a lot's also not. Like we're not at a stage where like AI can make really smart decisions about a lot of things. Like you're still keeping a human in the loop. That's like even these like fully AI companies, you run into roadblocks where you're like, how have we not solved this yet? So I think a lot of people are really scared for a good reason around like AI is going to replace me, or if I don't learn this fast enough, like I'm not going to have a job in 5 years, which like fair. There's been a lot of like stuff around that, but I think it's like all about figuring out how AI can help you in the areas that you are already good at just become better. Like I don't think it's about like replacing full like workflows of things that you do, but where can you kind of like augment either your speed or like how much you can get done, how well you do it. Like you can do really good like deep research or using like AI as a thought partner. So that's kind of my philosophy around it. Like the work that I'm already really good at, how can I make myself better at it? And I think there's many ways that you can do that, but I'm trying to educate myself as much as possible without getting overwhelmed, which is like very easy to do.
Yeah, I was actually watching clips of your podcast the other day. Oh, and I can't remember the name of it was a guy that you were speaking
Alfie?
with, but I think so. And you were
Yeah.
both giving really solid advice that I needed a reminder of on that specific day of like, don't try to just like go learn every tool and every possible thing out there because that's infinite. And that's what's making us feel overwhelmed is trying to keep up with it all. And that's impossible. And so find the tasks that are taking up the most time and work on those or tasks that, you know, are tedious and work on those and like use cases. I mean, we tell our clients this all the time. Find like the best use cases and build your AI tooling and workflows around that. And that I don't know. I need to tell myself, I need like a mantra of that. Like stop trying to learn it all and keep up with it all. You don't need to. I was playing with Lovable a few weeks ago and it was fun, but at the end of like 4 hours of playing with Lovable, I was like, "I don't have any use cases for this." Like, I can imagine when people do, but I don't this is not useful to me. Why did I just do this?
That's what I was about to say too. I think it's fine to like play around with stuff, but it's unnecessary to like force yourself to use certain tools just because like other people are using them. So like the Lovable case, for example, I did a little like mini hackathon myself on like a Sunday night. So just like I needed to like learn what it was what it was for. It was the International Women's Day. I don't know if you saw, but like it was all free. So I was like, okay, I got like 4 hours of baby's down for the night. Like, I want to try doing this thing. And I then like didn't use it for maybe a month or two. But in the type of work that I do, like spinning up a landing page or mocking up like what a website could look like is actually something very useful. So I've now been using Lovable with like most of my clients to just like test out ideas and then build from there. But it only works because like that's stuff that I would otherwise have to find another solution for. I think in the beginning of like when everyone started talking about AI on LinkedIn, I was saving everything and like sending myself reminder emails with links and like stressing myself out for no reason. Like, oh, I like built this entire like content strategist system and you can do it too and it's going to take a couple hours. Like I was like, okay, I got to do this, obviously. And now I'm just so much more chill. Like, if there's something that I see that I'm like, oh, I'm actually working on a project and this would be super useful, that's like the only time that I'll maybe save something and try to do it like in the moment because otherwise, this like whole backlog of stuff that you want to try, like it sits in your brain and that's not good either.
Yeah. Are you doing anything with agents? Like, that's one thing where I'm like, I've never built an agent and maybe I should, but I don't really know what I would do with an agent.
So I took a building AI
I
agent
know.
course, yeah, at the beginning of the year, but I have to say, like, I'm not using agents or at least not like building them myself. A lot of tools that we use have agents built in, but I'm not like doing a lot of it myself anymore. I tried like two different agents from that course, which was really helpful because it just like helped me understand how this stuff works and it makes you feel it's less daunting as well. If you build it once, like you understand how it works in other tools, for example, or what you might be able to use it for in the future. But I just did like very simple things. So I started with Zapier, which out of all the tools, like where you can build agents yourself, that was just the most user friendly because I've also used it in the past for just their normal like workflows. So I used that and I did like very simple use cases. The first one was just drafting an email after someone books a demo call with me. And it was just like in my own format. It was like surprisingly difficult. The most difficult part was like getting my email signature to show up properly, which I've talked about in some past episodes as well. But I feel like you get stuck on these things that are like so silly for hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But
This
again,
is
like it's
helpful.
not necessary. Like I wouldn't tell someone to like go and build themselves a bunch of agents. Like if you have a very specific thing in mind, you can probably figure out how to do it. But I don't know. I'm just not of the philosophy that like our whole life needs to be optimized.
Yeah. I think for you and I, it's helpful to at least understand to go through it once ourselves because we'll have clients that have like very mature, purposeful agents that they're selling as a
Yeah.
product. And so I could see where that's helpful to just like be able to walk that walk with them.
Totally. I feel like I can talk to more people in a more intelligent way and like understand products that I might be having to like build a website around, which is important. It's tough to understand all of this stuff. It's there's so much happening.
I think this is my last question. It's kind of earlier I said Emma Stratton is one of my idols, sort of like a marketing person that I look up to. April Dunford is another one. Do you have any like kind of like LinkedIn famous marketers that you look up to? Like if someone said you can have lunch with any marketer that you look up to. Does anyone come to mind?
I don't know. I mean, I have a marketer in mind, but if I could like extend that to just like anyone in the world that I could, like a person that I could have lunch with, it would be, which I think she actually does a great job at marketing herself. It would be Stevie Nicks, like hands
Oh,
down.
I love her.
And I think, I don't know, I think like storytellers, that's what good marketers do is storytelling. So I love to get inspiration from actually places outside of marketing. Like I don't actually follow that many people on LinkedIn that are marketers, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
I love it.
I don't know. Like artists in general, that's what I get inspired by for everything that I do with my like day job too. So maybe I don't know if that's like a good answer to
No, I
the
love it.
question, but
Have you seen her live?
yes, I saw her
Me
live right.
too.
Really? No
Yeah.
way. She doesn't do a lot of live shows.
This was like maybe 8 years ago, so it wasn't super recent. She was so good still. It
I
was
think
crazy.
we must have seen her on the same tour because she's been like my inspiration, my idol as a musician, but also just like she's awesome. Like if you know like the story of Fleetwood Mac and how basically they wouldn't even bring her in, but it was like a package deal with Lindsey Buckingham. So they like had to let her in, and then she just like made that band. Like their success was because of her. I think that's so cool. And then she had like an amazing solo career as well. So she's just like such a cool woman. And I always want to like keep that energy no matter what field I'm in. Like even, the tech space can be cool. Like it doesn't have to be all boring. And I think maybe that's like part of my philosophy around marketing as well. Like let's bring artistry into it and like connection.
Yeah, I love that answer. It's a good answer.
Okay, good. I'm
That's
glad.
all I got. I'm so excited. This was so fun. I think it was lovely to like celebrate you and learn more about you and give you your spotlight on your own podcast where you're always spotlighting other people. Thanks for letting me do it.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I mean, when you had this idea, like no one, you just came to me with this idea versus like, me interviewing you. So I thought that was already so fun. And when I saw like some of the questions you initially sent, I was like, oh, this is on. Let's do it.
Love it. I love it. It was an honor. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. And I mean, people already know where they can connect with me. It's also always in the description, but where can people connect with you?
Well, like any solopreneur marketer, I'm on LinkedIn, Erin Miska, and then my website is erinmiska.com. My line's open.
Are you taking on new clients?
Oh, you and I were talking about this before we started recording. I'm so scared to like overdo it with clients. And so, no, not right now, but in September I can.
I think that's a great answer. Also, like
Yeah.
a little bit of the FOMO, for people who can't work
Yeah.
with you
I'm
right
full,
now.
people, but in September I got space.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. This was like the best part of my week. I am like so energized. So
Oh,
thank you
good.
for asking such great questions. Like these are the questions that I wish like a friend of mine over coffee would ask just one of. So I'm a big fan. Thank you.
Love it.
All right. Well,
So
we will
good.
talk soon. Thank you for
Okay.
being here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Growing Startups. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to give us a rating so more people can find the show. So happy you're here, and see you in the next one.